and he talked about it. He said, I don't want to do an exhibition against Floyd Mayweather. Yeah. He said, I'm only doing real fights. Now, of course, I can't get up high in weight, but I'll fight him in a real fight at the weight that
Floyd Mayweather has dropped another bombshell after calling out Terence Crawford to abandon his fight with Canelo Alvarez and fight him instead. However, it would be nothing more than an exhibition match. I doubt if Floyd Mayweather realizes that this fight adds nothing to Terence Crawford's already impressive boxing record. It does not contribute to his journey toward International Boxing Hall of Fame glory. At best, it's a quick and easy way for the former undisputed world welterweight champion to make money.
But one thing I like about him, one thing I do like about him, he's selling it. He's selling it, and he's making good money, and he's entertaining. I like it.
Is he? And Floyd,
for some reason, the boxing legend feels he and Crawford would generate more money than a Canelo versus Crawford fight. Floyd's main motive for this bout seems to be settling the long-standing debate over who is the better fighter between him and Terence Crawford. Crawford is the only boxer with a record closest to Mayweather's, which has sparked debates in the past regarding the greatest boxer of all time. While the fight might eventually happen, it may be too soon. Crawford is still active and chasing greatness. The super middleweight champion put in significant effort to secure his fight against Canelo, making it unlikely that he would be willing to walk away from it.
The pound-for-pound top fighter in boxing right now is Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford, I just truly believe, he doesn't have to be under my company for me to give a guy props. I'm not like that. You know, if he's ever free.
Boxing fans have frequently drawn comparisons between Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Terence Crawford, but few have dared to strip the 50-0 boxing champion of his rightful honors. Terence Crawford respects Floyd Mayweather, and when asked about their similarities, he had several things to say. Crawford praised and acknowledged Floyd's greatness, even calling him the king.
Is up, bro. Keep it a stack. Did you in your head size up Floyd? Like, you know what I'm saying? If we was ever keep it real, boy, keep it real.
He continued by highlighting that they share quite a few similarities in some aspects. However, there are differences, as Crawford believes he takes more risks. Earlier in his career, he took a lot of chances as well. He largely feels that it depends on which version of Floyd Mayweather one is discussing, Money Mayweather or Pretty Boy Floyd. The latter was a relentless destroyer before he started experiencing hand injuries, which forced him to adjust his fighting style as he moved up in weight and fought bigger opponents.
Always been happy for him, been a fan of his, and I never imagined us fight. I never looked at him.
Like Crawford said, they have a lot in common. However, boxing fans and analysts have compared both fighters to determine the better competitor. According to a recent source, Crawford is the likely winner in a hypothetical matchup between the two. When it comes to pure boxing ability, it is hard to find a more technically skilled fighter than Floyd Mayweather Jr.
Hit and not get hit, and to make the adjustments that he's made to certain fighters. You know,
his crisp jab, precise timing, and counterpunching ability allowed Mayweather to dismantle a long list of opponents. He did this over 2 different stages of his career.
I think, you know, I take more chances, you know, right now. But earlier in his career, he was taking a lot of chances as well. So, you know.
As Crawford pointed out, Pretty Boy Floyd was an aggressive fighter who pressed the action, while Money Mayweather later developed a more calculated, strategic approach, outclassing opponents with brilliant boxing skills. Regardless of one's preference, both versions of Mayweather contributed to his legendary status. Comparatively, boxing fans are still in awe of what Crawford did to Errol Spence Jr. in their last fight.
You talk about Money, or do you talk about Pretty Boy? Because Pretty Boy was seek and destroy.
Free, and he want to go to any company. If he's a free agent, I would love to work with him if he's free, because I know that what I can do to take him to that next level. Because with Jim saying raw talent, hell of a fighter. There's a lot of hell of a fighters.
Whether it was a power jab that he repeatedly snapped through Spence's guard, his ability to punch in traffic, or the precision of his counterpunching, Crawford exhibited supreme boxing ability. It wasn't the first time he displayed such dominance, but we had never seen it at that level against an opponent of Spence's caliber. When discussing pure boxing ability, very few should be mentioned alongside Mayweather. However, Crawford's style is different, yet equally effective and explosive. If Crawford were to fight Mayweather in his prime, how would their styles compare? Would Crawford's pinpoint punches break through Mayweather's legendary defensive prowess? Who would assert the jab first? Who would be the more effective counterpuncher?
Reach from the left hooks again. He's a lightning hand speed extraordinary. Left hook drops him, and then he hit his head off it en masse here at the engine.
There are numerous ways this matchup could play out, making it difficult to declare a clear winner. We've seen Mayweather methodically lure his opponents into the middle of the ring, analyze their patterns, and execute a game plan to pick them apart. Mayweather used his superior ring IQ and hit and not get hit philosophy to cement his undefeated legacy as a 5-division world champion. Meanwhile, Crawford, having been crowned undisputed at both junior welterweight and welterweight, has demonstrated a high boxing IQ throughout his career. While Mayweather showcased exceptional hand speed, particularly with his counterpunching, Crawford's sharp angles and dynamic delivery give him an edge in speed.
Jab.
Larry Holmes.
Defensive work.
Canelo Alvarez.
Chin.
Of Mayweather's 50 wins, 27 came by knockout. In comparison, Crawford has 40 wins, with 31 of them coming by knockout, and he is still active. Crawford's dominance over Spence, knocking him down 3 times en route to a dominant 9th-round TKO, proved his power and skill. Defeating a power-punching, body-snatching fighter like Spence, who systematically broke down Kell Brook, Sean Porter, and Dennis Yugas to become the unified welterweight champion, was no easy feat yet. Crawford made it look effortless. Mayweather, known for his defensive mastery, would often raise his shoulder into the Philly shell, absorbing shots with his arm while counterpunching with precision. This defensive strategy was one of the finest displays of boxing intelligence in history.
David Tudor.
Footwork.
Muhammad Ali. Floyd Mayweather.
Legacy.
It's more than one.
Crawford also possesses solid defensive skills, but Mayweather took defensive boxing to an almost perfect level. If this hypothetical fight were to happen, how would it unfold? After a tense first round where both fighters assess each other, Crawford would likely be the more aggressive and active boxer early on, launching and landing shots, even if many were absorbed by Mayweather's defensive shell. By the middle rounds, Mayweather's strategic approach would take over as he peppers Crawford with jabs and begins banking rounds.
Unbelievable. The young boxing fans that are watching Floyd Mayweather, you're seeing one of the greatest defensive fighter of all time. I mean, that's how strong.
You're wearing, then he's nowhere. You think you...
And again, it's not just hand quick.
Yet, with relentless pressure, Crawford's power could trouble Mayweather, possibly even hurting the legend at times. As close as this fight would be, Crawford's high-volume attack and his ability to land damaging punches might be enough to sway the judges. Ultimately, Crawford could secure a points victory over Mayweather's tactical and defensive style.
Movement of the head, the way he rolls with punches. Look at the way he makes them miss. I mean, here we go. Do a series of punches, and nothing really landed. Rip it, Mike. Well, Mayweather. Oh, hey!
Terence Crawford, a 4-division world champion, has expressed his interest in facing Canelo, the reigning super middleweight king. However, the weight disparity between the two poses a significant challenge for the American fighter.
Well, Crawford cares about his life, and with that fight, what do that fight do for Canelo? Fighting Crawford, and Crawford beats Canelo. What do that do for Canelo? I just think that there are so many other fights to make that's realistic and makes sense and less life risking on top of the risk that we risk stepping in there with guys out.
Former heavyweight champion Roy Jones Jr. shared his perspective on the clash between Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. While praising Crawford's talent and skills, the legendary boxer leaned toward Canelo as the favorite. The former champion emphasized the importance of Canelo's punching power as a decisive factor in the fight.
Who's time to take over and start beating the guys around him? He's the best of that group. Bud is in a group above him. Bud don't need to come back down to 47 to meet him. That's crazy.
His analysis underscores Crawford's need to neutralize Canelo's renowned power. If Crawford can impose his technical boxing skills and avoid Canelo's devastating punches, he could stand a chance of pulling off a historic upset. While the potential fight between Canelo and Crawford remains a dream scenario for fans, Canelo Alvarez is currently focused on preparing for his next bout.
Yeah, because a lot of people are saying, like, hey, forget about Canelo. That was a tough fight with Madrimov. Go ahead and give Boots a shot. Give Boots the chance. But Eddie's saying, hey, I think Crawford's saying, hey, give me the Canelo fight or I'm not fighting. I'm done.
Why? What he got to prove to Boot? Boot time to take over and start beating the guys around him.
International Boxing Federation interim champion William Skull has been mentioned as a possible opponent. This wasn't always the case for Roy Jones Jr., though. The Hall of Fame fighter, current promoter, trainer, and respected analyst had earlier shared scenarios in which he saw both Terence Crawford and David Benavidez beating Alvarez before going against his former prediction.
He's the best of that group. Bud is in a group above him. Bud don't need to come back down to 47 to meet him. That's crazy. Why would he? Bud looking to try to make history and get out. Get his big bank and get out. His big bank is who? Canelo. He willing to take that gamble, see if he can beat him. If he beats him, he may go fight Benavidez next. If he don't beat him, he say, okay, I took it as high as I could go. I'm done.
And now you want me to do something. Canelo's not coming down to 60.
No. It's Crawford who wants it. He wants the chance to prove he's the best.
I get it.
This era.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Right.
And and again, that's one of what's happening on a shakeup of the New World Order, where you got fighters that's really 54 at best.
The two-time 168 pounds title holder Benavidez has been pushing for a fight with Alvarez over the last 2 years. Formerly recognized as the best welterweight in the world, Crawford is open to moving up 2 weight classes for a chance to clash with the Mexican star. Alvarez, meanwhile, maintains that a win against Crawford would do little for his legacy, even though many are giving Crawford a real chance to score the win.
Crawford, I'm not sure about that because Crawford does have punching power and shock, but I think Canelo's a little big. He showed tonight that he's pretty big, so I probably would rather see best fighter fight.
To take on a Canelo who can actually fight a cruiserweight and maybe give a cruiserweight, especially at this moment, all the hell they can want. If you can't hurt a guy like Canelo, and you don't have height and depth to be able to at least have something to work with, then we're going to see another, what they say, boring fight, not say a smart fight.
Jones, who fluctuated in weight during the latter half of his career as a 4-division title holder, said Alvarez should continue his career moving forward at super middleweight. Last year, Canelo Alvarez fought on September 14th around Mexican Independence Day, and it's only natural that his annual September fight would be scheduled for September 13th this year. Reports indicate that the Mexican champion has booked the T-Mobile Arena for that date as he looks set to take on Terence, but Crawford, just about a year after his fight against Edgar Berlanga at the same location, about that clashed with the UFC Noche event.
In that, you obviously, again, appealing Team Crawford. Can you confirm? Are we going to see that fight? Has it been made official? Is it official?
It's on, baby. September 13, baby. Look forward to it. Crawford versus Canelo. Listen how I said it.
Hey, are we getting this confirmation here first?
You understand? Yeah.
Canelo Alvarez has been rumored to take on Terence Crawford in a potential super fight later in 2025. The Mexican pugilist is a boxing icon and has had an illustrious career. Both he and Crawford are 2 of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world at the moment, and a showdown between them would be a spectacle. Canelo Alvarez might be getting older, but age hasn't done anything to slow down his momentum and status as the face of boxing. Boxing fans haven't been overly pleased with his opponent choices in recent years, with many claiming he's avoiding the very best, like David Benavidez.
Being that you obviously, again, appealing Team Crawford, can you confirm? Are we going to see that fight? Has it been made official? Is it official?
It's on, baby. September 13, baby. Look forward to it. Crawford versus Canelo. Listen how I said it.
Hey, are we getting this confirmation here first?
You understand? Yeah, it's confirmed. Man, what?
Say less.
Crawford versus Canelo, not the other way around. Team Crawford stand up, pound for pound, the best in the world, soon to be.
Despite that, Alvarez has continued to sell out every arena he fights at, regardless of the opponent. The same will happen later this year, as a much-anticipated bout against Terence Crawford has been all but finalized. Everything points to that fight happening on September 13th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. But will Canelo be out of action for that long? It's unlikely. Boxing Scene may have uncovered the date and location of his next fight. Reports indicate that 4 fight cards are reserved on the Strip for March 22nd, March 29th, April 5th, and May 3rd, the last of which remains uncertain for now.
I understand the money grab. I understand it's about the bag. Crawford ain't 26. Another major network is saying they packing their bags up. You're gonna see a lot of desperate moves jumping off. You're gonna see a lot of very unrealistic, unorthodox, crazy thinking, crazy gossip.
For Canelo, that May 3rd date is obviously one to keep an eye on. Canelo has fought on the weekend of Cinco de Mayo every year since 2019, excluding the COVID year in 2020. 3 of those 5 fights took place at the T-Mobile Arena, so we can definitely connect the dots. It's not a sure thing, though. Given how important the fight against Crawford is, Alvarez could choose to take more time off and keep his body fresh. However, he doesn't like to take too much rest time if his past history is any indication. As for his potential opponent, William Skull appears to be the main option. The IBF super middleweight champion has been in talks with Canelo's team since the beginning of the year.
I respect Crawford. He's a great fighter, and I always say that, no disrespect him, but sometimes it's a little crazy that people talking about a small fighter like Charlo. He's big, which
Canelo, now 34 years old, has shown no signs of slowing down, but he is arguably nearing the end of his career. In a recent chat with Ring magazine, Canelo revealed when he might consider retiring. He admitted that he doesn't know exactly when, but acknowledged that he is getting closer to retirement. However, he believes he feels great, better than ever, as he has shown countless times in the ring. He suggested that maybe at 38, he would start thinking about retirement. He further added that he has taken risks throughout his whole career and truly loves challenges. He never looks at his record and says, "I did this." Instead, his trainer always reminds him of his accomplishments, showing him all the world champions he has beaten, which he finds very impressive.
And everybody's talking about if I'm gonna face Crawford, fighter 147, who is smaller than Charlo. So no make sense when you guys say that right now. At the end of the day, I don't want to have.
Canelo Alvarez last defeated Edgar Berlanga back in September 2024. Reports suggest that his rumored bout against Terence Crawford is close to becoming a reality in 2025. However, the future of this potential fight remains uncertain. Both fighters have existing commitments, and the possibility of an agreement will hinge on several factors, including contract negotiations and strategic decisions from both teams. There aren't many fighters who have shared the ring with both Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. The only man to do so inside a professional ring was Amir Khan, who suffered stoppage defeats to both. He has already given his thoughts on how a potential Crawford versus Canelo matchup would go.
You and Terence Crawford as one of the top 5 fights that he wants to see this year. Is that a fight that you're considering now?
We'll see. We'll see. Everything is possible. We'll see. We want to talk about it, sit down really well, and figure out something.
What do I think of that fight?
Yeah.
I think that, everybody knows that Crawford got the skills. I do think that Canelo's a little big for Crawford. It'll be a tall task.